Hello, it's Cake. I'm back from being drowned in coursework for a few months. So, hello. We've had a week with the Rise demo now, and I hope you've all had a load of fun with it, because I definitely have. I haven't been able to play it as much as I've wanted to, but I'm going to catch up on that pretty soon, I think. Going to be streaming it quite a lot. But I did originally plan to make a big, long video about the demo, detailing everything I could possibly think of about it. But all of that content is out there, and it's been done by people who can edit a lot better than me, can display their points a lot better than me. So I just thought I'd just make a very unscripted video where I just talk about a lot of the things in Rise and just my own thoughts about them. I've got notes for this one. I'm not actually using a script for a change, so you're gonna hear like my proper actual first thoughts and not just refined stuff that I've been able to check over with friends. But I guess the best place to start is probably the most important and prominent thing, which is movement. Wire bugs are good. Oh, they're really good. I genuinely really like them. I was expecting to like them, to be fair, but they're even better than I wanted. I think the control scheme for them is really nice. It's really easy to get to grips with. I feel like the X and A movement options for it are kind of obsolete once you learn how to do the actual manual aim one, but it's a minor complaint, I guess, even if it isn't really a complaint to begin with. Wirefall is good. I talked about it in the Greatsword breakdown video that I did, that I was kind of afraid that it wouldn't be balanced very well. It's balanced really well. It doesn't have any invincibility on it, which is a really good thing. I've got a couple of really good clips of me falling down and then doing Wirefall and immediately being dunked by something else, which is just, aside from looking hilarious, I think is definitely the right way it should have been done, because it could have very easily become a pretty broken tool. Wirebugs added Silkbinds. Silkbinds are pretty cool. They're basically just better integrated Hunter Arts, which is fine. They always feel like good additions to movesets whenever they're in. There's a couple that are kind of wonky, but that's also demo disease, I guess. But we'll find out more about that on the full game. I really like the resource management that it brings. The resource management's really cool. Having to choose between doing like a strong attack and movement options and easy recoveries and stuff is the kind of thing that I really enjoy, actually. So it's been implemented really well. I love it. And the other thing that you can do is, we saw it in a couple of the trailers, but you can do some really interesting item use with the Wirebug aim. Like being able to yeet yourself into the air and then chuck barrel bombs down and stuff is just objectively hilarious. Even if it is very disruptive to teammates and stuff, it's really funny. I love it. That's all I guess movement related. I guess I should probably talk about Palamutes. Palamutes are pretty cool. The first thing I want to say immediately, because it's like my main complaint with them, is they kind of just made Palico invalid. Like, completely. Or at least from, like, demo impressions, I suppose. The demo cap might have been set up kind of mediocrely, which is more often than not what happens, so they might still be really useful, but in multiplayer I feel like, people with Palamute are just going to arrive at the master like a minute before everyone else is, so yeah, that's a bit of a shame, I suppose, if you really like Palico. I kind of don't really have too much of an opinion when it comes to Palico, so I accept the new dog overlords of Marsana. They also have like really good combat utility as well. They have cool flashy looking moves. You can actually attack on them as well if you want to do that, which is kind of nice. I do feel like the effects from them are a bit over the top, especially in multiplayer, but whatever, really. The dog drifting is hilarious, though. It's it's a good movement option. It looks really funny. It's an easy way to turn corners on them. It's just one of those little mechanical changes that I think is really cool. But yeah, they're really good. They make Palico kind of seem bad in comparison. That's kind of just, that's it. They're nice. I like them. The map in the demo is really good. It's a really good first impression. I like the flat areas a lot. It's a lot flatter than World, and oh my god, this is so much better than Ancient Forest when it comes to the first map. Ancient Forest was just a confusing mess of a map. for new players. I hated it, and I still kind of dislike it now, even after spending like 200, 300 hours in it. I'm still not the biggest fan. It's okay, but first impression of it wasn't very good at all. This one's completely different. It has really good music. Really, really good music. It looks visually really nice. Something that I'm going to talk about in a later video, either just when I do get around to making an actual review of the full game, is how Monster Hunter has kind of struggled with verticality for a while. And I feel like if this map is anything to go by, the verticality implementation of Rise is really good. Genuinely, really, really nice. It feels well placed, it's not obtrusive. It actually encourages exploration as well, through stuff like endemic life and spirit birds as well as just giving you different vantage points in combat. I love that. I think it's really cool. The map is really, really nice. Do kind of wish it had another camp on it. There's only one camp at the moment. I feel like in the full game you probably get another one, but having a camp near the top would be really nice. It's a shame it doesn't have that in the demo. Speaking of endemic life and stuff, I guess I should probably talk about that as well. All of them feel really good to use. They're all actually really useful. The blights that the blight beetles can cause is a really nice change. It's actually a thing from Frontier, I believe. I'll link a tweet down in the description that explains that better than I could. But again, it's a reward for exploration. Same with, I guess I should probably talk about spirit birds as well. I didn't think they'd be that important. They are. Or at least they're really good for solo play, I think. Being able to take like 5 minutes to properly buff up and stuff seems like a really good decision. At least I'm probably going to be doing it a fair bit because I like playing a bit slower when I'm playing casually. I do feel like it's kind of a shame because the way they've structured it is it's kind of an indirect nerf to things like max potions, because max potions don't actually increase your health cap anymore. They just top it up to what it was, and you have to increase your health cap using spirit birds now. I'm fine with this. I want to see what the new Pearl Ace equipment slot does to change this. We don't really know too much about it at the moment, but it should be interesting to find out. Maybe it'll change effects like that. I'm not sure. We'll find out when the game releases, or close to the time at least. Big things are like Wyvern riding. It's good. It's fun. I feel like it's kind of had shoddy forced implementation. I don't think if the monster goes into a mountable state, I don't feel like attacking the monster should force the mount. I feel like you should have the option to either take the mount or continue attacking for a little bit, like the Clutch Claw Stagger in World. It's a good use for turf wars though. Getting monsters to fight each other and then having a rideable mount for a bit is pretty cool. And being able to ride a monster around zones is really funny more than anything. I think it's fun. I feel like the system might get old quick, but I've played maybe 20 hours of the demo so far. It hasn't really frustrated me too much, but we'll talk more about that later. Whatever just generally good stuff is there? Hit zone priority is something I haven't seen people mention too much. I've got this in my notes. Hit zone priority, for a simple explanation, is let's take Mizu in the demo. Mizu in the demo is pretty good for hit zone priority. If you're playing like Lance or something and you were trying to poke towards the stomach, you've got two hitboxes that you'll probably collide with. There's the stomach hitbox, and then there's the back hitbox. So the back hitbox is the really nice one. That's kind of a pain in the ass to aim for. You used to have to specifically like aim to target that, and only one of your hitboxes would actually be able to connect with it. And if that connected, you get the good hurt box and the good damage zones. But if it didn't, you'd be stuck with the horrible crummy one. There's now a priority system in place by the looks of things that always seems to favour the better hit zone. I really like that. It's like a really nice indirect buff to things like Greatsword and Lance, and bowgunning as well, I suppose, things like Spread Shot, Pellet Shot, whatever. All of the weapon movesets and reworks are all really good. There aren't many removals, I've noticed. Things like Charge Blade Savage Axe mode is gone. I didn't really use Wild Charge Blade that much, so I'm not really too sure how much it affects the weapon. Kind of a shame to see it go, but it might end up being placed into a Silkbind like the Insect Life Dunk is. The game looks very nice. I think the graphical style is good. It runs really smoothly as well. I've noticed a couple of frame drops, but some people seem to be having more problems than me with it. But for me, nothing fine. The game runs really smoothly. Little minor thing, guard points got a bit of a visual change. They have like a blue smoke effect now. It looks really cool, but also it's much easier to tell when you actually got a guard point going than in previous games, because like in 4U there was no visual distinction at all. In GU there was like a white flash almost, which was still kind of hard to tell exactly when that began and ended, but in Rise there's like a big actual visual indicator. It's cool, I like it. Another big thing I haven't seen anyone talk about as well is monster tripping from World has been altered in basically the exact way I wanted it to be. So if you trip something when it's on the ground, it will stagger a couple of times and then get back up. Normal, distinct stuff. If you know what they're like in GU, they're the same in this game. But in World, they were really, really extended, like 3 times the length of what they normally are. That's changed now. They're a lot shorter, but if you dunk something, it does that full extended knockdown. That's really good. I feel like you should be rewarded more for dunks. I genuinely really like that. There are some things that aren't amazing. Aerial hitboxes. There's a clip I'm going to play now, hopefully, that shows just how egregious some of these are. For a game that incentivizes you to be mobile in the air, and how the vertical space is now a lot more free for you, having really bad aerial hitboxes is kinda shameful. Not gonna lie, it's not good. Mizu's really bad with them, Raffian's really bad with them. Mizu in particular is actually really terrible with them. It sucks. No small thing, the flashing icons on the top of the HUD are really jarring. That's very much a minor complaint, I suppose. A bigger complaint for me is that there's no rumble. I found it kind of weird to get into at first, but I feel like the reason I couldn't was almost purely because of rumble just not being an option. I couldn't find an option for it in the demo. I hope there's one in the full game. Attack priority is really, really scuffed in multiplayer. Basically, no weapons have any kind of super armor anymore. You can be shot out of a full greatsword charge by just a normal bowgun shot, which is awful. It's a really horrible nerf to things that needed it. I don't know why the hell it's been removed. Four hunting horns multiplayer all on the head, and just nobody's allowed to play the game. It's not good. Attacks go around guard a lot more, is another thing that I've noticed. Things like Azeroth's Lord of the Dance is a pain in the ass now, because it will hit behind your guard. I notice it more with Charge Blade than anything else. It might just be me being bad, but I talked to a couple of people on Twitter and they found the same thing, so yeah, it's not great. I don't really feel like it's a thing that should happen in as wide a window as they've clearly done it. Buffer window as well. Speaking of Charge Blade, I found that like the buffer window to transition into axe mode with the guard point is a pain in the ass. It can be a pain in the ass when activating silk planes as well. There is buffer, but the buffer window is much smaller than what you might be used to, which can make it feel like the game drops a lot of inputs all the time, but the input windows are just a lot tighter. The other like minor complaint is hit lag is very small in this game, especially like coming from World, because World had a pretty substantial amount of hit lag. So weapons like, generally the weightier weapons don't feel as weighty now, which is kind of bad for game feel, but it's not like a buff or a nerf or anything. If anything, it's a minor buff because you can attack quicker, but not really to a noticeable extent. I guess talking about the demo itself, the lack of communication on when it was coming out was really frustrating for a lot of people, definitely myself included, because I'm in the UK. The demo came out 1 AM for us, which sucked. At least we got it, I suppose. And then when everyone woke up, everyone wanted to go out and get the demo, and then the eShop crashed, and nobody could get the demo until midday. It wasn't a great experience. Also, like, early access and stuff wasn't smooth. Capcom were like, oh, hey, 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock my time at least. Here's a load of streamers, a load of popular streamers. They're gonna stream the game, maybe on our channel, maybe on their own. And that was cool. That was really nice. I think they chose some really good people for it. And then also when that embargo lifted, a load of other people also had the early access demo. I think that's fine. Early access is totally cool. for people who deserve it, but I feel like their window of inclusivity should have increased a lot. There's people like them who've made these amazing tutorials for the world. I feel like should have had access to that sort of stuff, which is kind of a shame. But there's also people that did get access to it who... Okay, I don't like doing this because I'm not a big streamer, but there are people who got access to the demo who have less of a consistent viewer base than I do, and I've got the streaming schedule with the same consistency as a light breeze. That's kind of scuffed, to be honest. It's a bit of a shame. The online lobby in the demo sucks. It's really bad. It crashes a lot. Sometimes it will just randomly disable the password, so you get randoms in with you. I've had amazing times where I've left to go on a quest and then everyone has disconnected and been placed in their own instance of it. The friends list bug as well that caused online lag is just inexcusable, to be honest. I don't know how the hell that wasn't caught. Also, there's the whole, like, play 30 times thing. At least it has workarounds, but it's still just a very dumb system. I don't know. It just seems pointless. You want people to try and play your demo, and you're enforcing a limit on it. It's sucky. But at least you can delete save data to get around it. I guess the last thing I should probably mention with the demo, I mentioned the phrase demo disease earlier. What I mean by that is things like bowguns that are set up really bad in the demo and give like a really bad impression of them. I think Rise definitely has the worst case of demo disease that any of the demos I've played have had. I'll get more into it when I talk about the weapons in a second, but it's not great. They could have balanced it a bit better. They've tried to place emphasis on all the things that have been reworks, which I can understand, but I don't think that really excuses the fact that some of them have been left significantly underwhelming in comparison. Also, the tutorials from World are gone. Like the little window in the top right that gave you all of your inputs and a little thing that would come up like the first time you unsheath your weapon and say, hey, maybe you should try these inputs quickly to like get used to it. I personally don't need them, but I've had people who've like played Monster Hunter for the first time, starting with the Rise demo because they thought it looked interesting, who've been thrown off a lot by just how obtrusive it is. I hope that changes in the full game, but for the demo it's kind of a pain in the ass. What other little things can I think of before I start talking about like specifics? Changes to healing are really good. Healing now uses half an item instantly, and then you can continue using it to get the other half. That's really nice. I like that. I think that's a really cool change. Since it's not world anymore, there's also no scout flies, so your neck isn't going to snap randomly whenever the monster leaves. That's just generally a really good thing. I'm happy they're gone. I've seen a lot of people complain about the control scheme. I like it. I think the control scheme is really good. You can also adjust little bits and pieces if you don't like it. The voice acting is an interesting topic. I think it's good. I think the English version is also really good, but I feel like it suffers from a lot of cringeworthy dialogue and repeated dialogue. The multiplayer as well can be a bit overwhelming when it comes to voice acted stuff, but you can turn it off, actually, so it's not really a complaint, just more of an advisory, I suppose. Anyway, I think that's probably all I got to talk about, just like for general, non-specific stuff. It's probably best I move on to talking about the weapons. I guess we'll start from ascending order or descending order. We'll start from the top. Greatsword's pretty cool. Power Sheath is a really nice addition. It is exclusive to Greatsword. All the silk binds are actually exclusive to the weapons. Power Sheath's really nice. The attack increase is pretty good. You can essentially have 100% uptime on it as well, so there's not much reason to not use it. There's a couple of weird changes. Obviously, one of the things that got removed was the slinger shortcuts. Obviously, there's no slinger in Rise, so Greatsword is missing out on the draw slash slinger burst TCS combo, which is a bit of a shame. It doesn't really have a replacement for it, but one of the silk binds does allow you to go from plunging slash straight into TCS. Also, plunging slash is really cool. Hits multiple times. It's chargeable. It's just generally really satisfying. I love it. It's one of those ones that suffers from lack of hit lag. Also, the shoulder check armor is really inconsistent, I've been finding. I'm kind of okay with it, because shoulder check was really good in World, and I don't mind it being nerfed here, so There you go. Also, I mentioned it earlier, but lack of super armor on charge moves is dumb. Being able to be hit out of your full TCS charge by a bowgun normal shot is dumb. It's really strange. I don't know why the hell it's like that. It's probably all I've got to say on Greatsword. Moving on to Longsword. Longsword fucks. It's really good. Would you believe it? Longsword is good in another game. Both of the Silk Mines added are really strong. The counter one is really nice. Comes out really fast. Hits for good damage. The jumping one is good. Has a really nice follow through. The Spirit Helm Breaker, like, it's gone on the normal moveset, but it's on the X-Bind instead. And it feels a lot more consistent this time. It feels that the hits trigger a lot more consistently. They do decent damage. What else is there? Oh yeah, Foresight Slash exists still, which I'm kind of crummy with. I kind of hate that move. I feel like Longsword gets a lot of iframes just unnecessarily on stuff. So the fact that Foresight Slash still exists and the iframes are still sort of pretty egregious is not my thing, to be honest. Although, speaking of lack of iframes, the Ido moves have changed a lot. The stance moves. The normal, like, draw attack doesn't have any iframes on it now, which I think is fine. Like I said, I feel like Longsword has iframes on everything at some point, comparatively compared to other weapons, so I think that one not having them anymore is fine. The Spirit Slash still does. There's been a buff to it where if you actually land it now, you go up a spirit level and it doesn't consume them when you land it perfectly, which I think it was like that in Iceborne as well, actually, but I think it also doesn't consume it now when you don't land it perfectly. This is fine. The damage is still good on it, the hits are consistent. They're nice. I think they're good moves in this game. They're pretty well balanced. Sword and Shield has a guard point now. Sword and Shield has a guard point, which is kind of weird. It's not really too useful, but also that might be demo disease striking again. It's the kind of thing that I could see being buffed from skills like Guard Plus and whatnot. It has really good movement. Sword and Shield has really nice movement. The Silk Binds are really nice. The Axe Bind is basically just the Wirebug Vault with your weapon drawn, and if you collide with the monster, then you can do an aerial slash. It's nice. I think it's a good movement option. The A Bind is the spinning slash. That's alright. It's good for anti-air, I've found. But aside from that, it's just, yeah, big damage move. Gumbura use 2 Silk Bugs. Yeah. Not really too much else to say on that. It doesn't. Oh, actually, there's the new Spinning Reaper move, which is like a double spinning slash on the end of a combo. It's nice. It hits for good damage. The longer your combo is, the stronger it is, and I think that's really nice. I feel like the changes they made to Sword and Shield like add extra depth to the weapon, but they don't really take away from the fact that it's very beginner friendly. It's still really easy to understand. So like, I like the changes. They're cool. I'm probably still not going to play it too much, but it's nice. I think it's good. People who like Sword and Shield in World still really like it in this game. That's a sign that it's been buffed and adjusted really well. Dual Blades are kinda meh. They're basically just World Dual Blades. There's like a couple of little tweaks, like Demon Mode, or Archdemon Mode, when you actually fill the Demon Mode meter, gives you the Demon Dash back outside of Demon Mode now, which is cool. I think that's really nice. That's something that should have been in World to begin with. It also adds a new Blade Flurry combo of X and A. Standard stuff. They both deplete the meter, so I find the meter depletes really fast. Also, stamina management in demo sucks for Dual Blades. I was kind of frustrated because Rise uses World style dash juice. It doesn't use like the older game style dash juice, so stamina management is kind of a pain in the ass still for things like Dual Blades. Bow suffers worse from it, but I'll get into that when I talk about Bow. What else is there? The Silk Binds, I suppose they're alright. They're okay. One of them's a semi-counter, one of them is just more damage. They're sort of whatever. The movement is fine. Dual Blades, kind of underwhelming for me, to be honest. Maybe I just need to play them more. They're still fun. They're still World Dual Blades. I liked World Dual Blades, so I like them here, but there's a few weapon types in this demo I feel like have just been done dirty by just not really having too many major additions to play around with. that are probably available in the full game. We'll see. Hammer was something that I thought was going to be really underwhelming. I watched the weapon trailer when it first came out, and I thought, yep, okay, this is kind of meh. I was like, oh, they removed the move and made it a silk bind. Okay, cool. I liked using that move. I guess it's a resource now, whatever. Hammer is really fun. One of the things I didn't know they changed was they changed how the charged empowered state works. It's basically a switch now for your charge moves. So, like in World, it changes the properties of your charge moves. This is nice. They also added in the Brave Hammer level 3 from GU, the one where you like step forwards, raise the hammer, and then slam it down for a very quick super pound. I love that move. It's awesome. It works really well here. But when you go into empowered state now, it fixes permanently, which is just awesome. You don't have to go into it whenever you draw your weapon. It's nice. I love it. But if you go out of it while you're charging, like you hold the charge and then you press A, it does like a dash and immediately gives you level 3 normal charge. That change is so cool. That change is really, really good. And it works really well with the A bind, the impact creator one. Because it will fully charge it and adds an extra hit. Feels really satisfying. It has some incredibly player-friendly hitboxes as well, I've noticed. It's really cool. I like Hammer a lot. There's a couple of changes they did make that are kind of weird. The Big Bang combo change feels really strange because it hits 4 times now instead of 5. And instead of just being able to go into it, you have to open with the side slap first. But, like, it's still a 5-hit combo, essentially. Also, Spinning Bludgeon is, yeah, a Silk Bind move. It's okay. It's fine. It kind of sucks on the demo monsters, but it's okay. It's a good option. One thing that I don't see people talking a lot about with Hammer is how tight the aerial movement is. Being able to do like your wirebug dash towards something, and then you press B to do your little dash in the direction you want, and then if you go too far, you need to go, oh, well, on most other weapon types, you're like, oh, well, I've gone too far, that's a shame, I'll have to accept that. On Hammer, you can draw it to charge, and that charge gives you an extra little bounce, which you can then use to move back and like micro-adjust a little bit. I love that. That's so nice. It feels really fluid in motion. I've got a couple of clips of just being able to dart around, like almost like aerial dash dancing with Hammer. I love it. It's so nice. It's such a cool movement option. But I guess speaking of really nice things, you probably heard that Hunting Horn is kinda silly now, right? It's definitely the best rework any weapon has had, like, in the series ever. New Hunting Horn feels really good to play. Lots of other people share this opinion. The weapon's good. It's really, really good. It's essentially an impact rapid weapon now, which is the sort of thing I've always wanted. It's nice to have that in main series, since we're never getting Tonfa. So, hey. They changed the song system on it. Each one only has 4 songs now. I'm fine with that. You can basically have 100% uptime on them, which is a bit weird to deal with. I feel like that's probably going to make Horn Maestro kind of irrelevant if you can keep them up most of the time, because they added a new attack with RNX where there's like multiple hits and stuff, but it also plays all of your songs at once. And you can activate that definitely far quicker than it will take for your songs to expire. So you can just have 100% uptime on your attack ups, your defense ups, your self improvements, and all of that. So Horn Maestro is probably a dead skill. If it's even in the game to begin with. I'd be surprised. Oh, well, I should say I won't be surprised if they omit it from the game, because it kind of just feels pointless to me now. Infernal Melody is a new thing they added. It's on a meter. At the end of the RNX move, you press R again. You do the Iceborne spin attack, and that activates another like really powerful buff. Cool change. It's a very welcome addition to the moveset. What else is there? The actual recital, the normal way that you would play the songs in the other one, has just ridiculous iframes on it. Like, the entirety of the very slow roll at the start is completely invincible from what I've been able to find, which is just ridiculous. It's really funny. It's totally unneeded, but it's hilarious. It's great. But I guess the thing I should probably credit the most is the weapon is a lot easier to pick up and play. Like, yeah, it's lost some of its complexity, and I kind of miss like not having a spreadsheet up on the side with all my songs on it, because I'm old like that. But I feel like it's traded that for just generally good accessibility, and easier uptime on stuff, and just generally it's been buffed for the better, even if it's lost that complexity. It's a good weapon type. It does suffer from a couple of things. I find it shreds through sharpness really fast, since it hits a lot more often now. Also, I mentioned it earlier, but in multiplayer, it hits too hard on your teammates, and will just interrupt anything in like a really wide area. Having multiple hunting on users basically means that most Blade Master weapon types can't play the game. Really hope they fix that. It needs to be fixed in the full game. It's definitely my biggest complaint for Rise so far. But I guess the other thing that's kind of a semi-complaint is the armor and equipment soft confirm that Basarius is returning. Nobody likes Basarius. If you like Basarius, you're wrong. I guess moving on from Hunting Horn, Lance. Lance is pretty good. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it too much, but it's really satisfying to play, actually. Both the subbinds are really good. The X one's kind of a bit more situational than the A bind, but being able to press ZL and B and being able to just hop to the monster for a really long distance away is just funny more than anything else, but also it's useful too. The A bind, the guard anchor, is really good for keeping up combat flow while also giving you a buff. The consistency of like what level buff you get is kind of weird, but obviously I'll never say no to just a small attack up buff for guarding an attack. I've mentioned it earlier, the weapon definitely benefits the most from hit zone changes. That's pretty cool. It's a nice little indirect buff. The charging swing also got buffed as well. Or I say charging swing, the wide sweep. You can charge it now. It hits really hard if you hit it at max charge. It makes that move actually useful, because I never really used that move and I never really saw anyone else use it. It was kind of just a relevant move. Again, like Hunting Horn, it does kind of burn through sharpness, I find. Again, it might just be the demo one, but hey. But just generally it was kind of a sleeper hit. Like, if my main complaint is, oh, sharpness not great, then yeah, the weapon's pretty fun. I like it. I recommend you try it, because I don't really see many people talking about Lance. Do see people talking about Gun Lance though. Definitely me more than most other people, because it's my favourite. Gun Lance feels really good. The subbinds are incredible. The guard one is so good, because the thing that Gun Lance always wanted, and we never knew it, was just sharpness restoration. Giving you an extra 20 hits of sharpness for hitting a guard on an attack, and then being able to go from that guard into Wormstake Cannon, being able to go directly into Slap Lance combo. Really nice. I love that subbind so much. The X one is pretty good as well. It's a 2-hit attack, and you can do the dumb shoot yourself into the air near infinitely thing out of it. But it also restores cooldown for Wyvern Fire. Wyvern Fire also got buffed. It's got a guard point, finally. It always needed one. They actually gave it one. Really nice addition. They made a couple of changes to Wormstake as well. There's a shortcut into it now, which is nice. If you do a charge shell and then hold back, press A, you do a really quick Wormstake. I like it a lot. It's a really nice shortcut. I feel like the hitbox is kind of too small. I find it misses a lot, but it might again just be demo monsters, I suppose. There's a couple of things I kind of wish they could improve on. I guess probably the most prominent is just, I wish it still had the quick reload guard point that Brave Gun Lance had, but I kind of feel like that might be overdoing it a little bit. To be honest, actually, that's probably my own complaint, I guess. Also, another thing, now I think about it, now I think about Wyvern Fire a little bit more, is since it has a guard point now, something I don't see many people talking about is like block stun cancelling, I suppose I'm going to call it. Where if you guard a heavy attack, you can evade directly forwards with Gun Lance pretty soon afterwards and cancel a lot of the block stun, where you wouldn't actually be able to act out of it like an attack or anything. So having like the Wyvern Fire guard point up, being hit with a heavy attack, and then being able to block stun cancel and move in and do Wyvern Fire again is really effective. I think it's a really cool change that I don't really see people talking about too much. Lance has it as well. It's not really as prominent on Lance, but it's really prominent on Gun Lance. Basically, I love Gun Lance and you should be playing it. It's amazing. Swax. Swax is cool. Switch X is very nice. Invincible Gambit, which is the X-Bind, is really good. Having super armor the entire way through, like right up until the end here, is just ridiculous. I love it. It also has the switch charger, Silkbind on Xenoblade. Don't see many people talking about that one, but I guess like free sword gauge is always a good thing to have. Although sword mode, okay, I don't want to say sword mode got nerfed because that would be wrong, but axe mode got buffed a lot when you entered empowered state now. It actually goes to affect axe as well, so you get a little file bursts on axe too. I love it. I think that's a really good change. They also made amped axe pretty much mandatory to get into empowered mode quicker. I think that's cool. I think it's actually feels really balanced now between axe and sword mode. It's obviously not Brave Swax. Brave Swax is my baby and it will always be the most satisfying weapon type in Monster Hunter, but hey, it's better than World Swax. Zero-sum discharge can't be spammed anymore, thank God. That kind of made the weapon feel very, very samey very, very quickly, in my opinion, so that whole change being gone and there being much more focus on what each mode does and making axe a lot better is good. I think Swax is a really fun weapon type in Rise. Charge Blade, it's alright. It's pretty okay. It's World Charge Blade with Hunter Rats. Mobility is fine on it. The X-Bind yeets you forwards for a little bit. Not really too effective. You can go into SAED out of it. You can go into your axe mode combo. You can go back into sword mode. It's a movement option that doesn't attack, and you can go into whatever you could out of any axe mode attack. It's fine. The A-Bind is really good. It's a guard point. If they hit the guard point, you get full files. Being able to get full files off of like any collision is always a really good thing. Plus, you can actually chain it into SAED and charging your shield. That's really cool. I think that's a really nice change. It's also only one wire bug, which is kind of silly. I thought it would be two, so you can use it pretty sparingly. Another thing, I think it was Tuna who mentioned this to me, actually said that it also gives you a really quick defensive option in Axe mode now, which is a really good change, because Axe mode, basically your only defensive option was, I hope you get a good sword mode transition guard point or your roll, so being able to have a block that also restores files immediately is just amazing. It's a really nice change. Only problem is the guard sucks. Charge Blade definitely suffers the most from the guard mix-ups that I mentioned earlier. Stuff seems to hit around your guard a lot. The changes to the buffer also make it so that getting guard points and stuff can kind of be a pain in the ass. The timing feels a lot different, and I feel like the guard point also lasts a lot less than in like World and 4U and stuff, which is kind of a shame, but it being tighter shouldn't really change too much in the long run. It's another weapon that also suffers from armor on moves. You can charge SAD and you can once again be shot out of it with a normal level 2. So yeah, it's a good. Charge Blade is fine. It has some problems that I feel need fixing before the full game releases, but we'll see if they actually do that. Let me scroll my note. Okay, so this is the bad part about using notes and not actually scripting things, is these notes were made at 2 AM, and I've got to talk about Insect Glaive next. The only note I have is just fuck, written in capital letters. Insect Glaive is not good. Or at least comparatively, I guess I should say. The weapon type is fine. It's basically World Insect Glaive, and World Insect Glaive was good. If you liked World Insect Glaive, you'll like it in this game. Silkbinds are underwhelming. I guess. The X1 is good for aerial mobility. Being able to use it in the air to like eat yourself really high is cool. But is it useful in combat? It's situational, I guess. It's not really that useful. It feels like you're swinging a wet noodle around as well. I feel like the damage has kind of been lowered a little bit on the ground. Look, I'll be blunt, since it's not scripted, I didn't like Insect Glaive. I didn't like Insect Glaive the most out of any weapon type. Which sucks. Because I like it in other games. Like in GU, I use Insect Glaive aerial style when I'm playing casually. I really like that weapon type. And I was like, oh, okay, well it's Rise, so it's basically just going to be aerial Insect Glaive. But they didn't change the aerial movement that much. It sort of just feels crummy. there is one thing it's good for. You can do the wall stick like you could in World, but like on any surface now, and it recharges your stamina, it recharges your wire bug uses, so you can basically climb infinitely. So Glaive is really good for exploration, if you like that. I feel like it's definitely the best weapon for it. But if it's not important to you, then Insect Glaive is kind of just worthless, in my opinion. If you like it, cool. I'm happy you like it. For someone who wanted more out of it like me, I'm disappointed with how Insect Glaive is, which is a shame. Sucks to cap off the Blade Master weapons that way, but Gunner weapons, just want to say first of all, I don't know what I'm talking about too much when it comes to the Gunner stuff, so I'm going to link Fem's video in the description, because he knows what he's talking about a lot better than me, and can display information a lot better than me, so hey. But Light Bowgun is my favourite of the Gunner weapons in the demo. Good aerial mobility, the A Silk Bind is really good for just yeeting yourself up in the air. You can also do the explosives layout it. You can shoot them down, they can stick on the monsters, which is really satisfying. It's got kind of a small hitbox, but the reward is like good enough to kind of justify that, I think. On the whole, satisfying to play. Suffers from not having rumble, in my opinion, because I like my rumble and I like my feedback. But hopefully that'll change in the full game. We'll see. Aerial clusters are a thing. They gave Light Bowgun the ability to use cluster bombs, and you can use the A Silk Bind to get yourself in the air, and you can shoot a cluster bomb down with very little recoil, and it'll explode the moment it hits the ground and do full damage. That's kind of nuts. I really like that. That's a really weird, cool change. There's a new ammo type. I guess I'll talk about this here. Shrapnel ammo. It was an internal ammo in GU, I think. I can't really remember what it did, but if it's a close range one, then that'd be cool. An alternative to spread is always quite nice. Heavy bowgun. Also kind of in the underwhelming camp, I think, but that's mainly because of demo disease, I think. They did give us a shield mod on the demo gun, which I wasn't expecting at all, which I guess kind of maybe soft confirms that the world modification system is coming back, which I guess I'm okay with. Hopefully evade mods aren't mandatory on Light Bowgun now, but we'll see. Silk binds are pretty good. The X bind is pretty nice for closing distance. If you trip a monster and then you use the X bind, if you're using like spread, for example, then being able to yeet yourself forwards and quickly get back into position is really nice. I think that's a good change. The A bind, like the anchor guard, is also pretty good. It's a perfect guard, I believe, which means you take no damage. Don't think it has guard up in it. But it's a good move. Being able to charge the burst, it doesn't actually charge, it doesn't do more damage. Being able to hold the burst and then being able to aim it and getting a good counter off of it with good damage as well it's nice. But generally it just feels like World Heavy Bowgun with a resource counter now. If you liked Heavy Bowgun in World, again, you'll like it here. Bow. Okay, so as much as I think Demo Disease kind of screwed over Insect Glaive, I think it hit Bow the worst. Stamina management in Demo sucks. Even with Dash Juice, it's really, really bad. You recover stamina at such a slow rate that the whole weapon type gets brought to a crawl sometimes. You can use the X Silk Bind to give yourself, it gives you iframes as well, but you can put yourself into the air, it restores your stamina quite quickly, but you've still got to take a moment on the ground, and it disrupts the combat flow a fair bit. I think it feels really unsatisfying. The other Silk Bind is also just sort of whatever. Herculean Draw is just, I don't feel like the attack boost is satisfying in any way. It's not big enough to warrant the 2 wire bug uses, when to be honest stamina management is going to be more important. In the full game, obviously you're going to have skills like stamina use down and stuff, which is probably going to be pretty much mandatory here. And that will fix a lot of these problems. It was the same in World, from what I understand. It'll be the same here. That's fine. As long as that option still exists, Bow will still be good. But to be honest, I don't know what I'm talking about too much, so I'm not going to say too much more on it. Again, I'll link Fem's video down in the description, because he knows what he's talking about much more than me. But I guess that covers the weapon types. Talk about the monsters a little bit to end this off. General changes. Not every fight starts with like the standard, oh, you walked into my cone of vision, I'm gonna roar at you. So that's kind of refreshing. That's been in like literally every Mon Hunt until this point. So having a monster start off with like a charge or a fireball or something in Raffian's case is cool. I think that's nice. It caught me off guard a couple of times and I was welcome with that. Also, speaking of roars, aerial heavy roars like Raffian's one punish so much harder now, and I think that's a good thing. You shouldn't be in the air if the monster's drawing. It used to be a very cheap thing that you could do, like a strategy I used to do with Insect Glaive a lot in Generations was, if I didn't feel like I could iframe the roar or I didn't have earplugs or anything, I would start the pole vault and then you just get knocked down, you wouldn't be in stun very long, and you'd be out of stun longer than you'd be in like the raw stun. In Rise, they yeet you away into the distance, which looks funny and also just is a lot more punishing. I think it's a good change. I think it's a good balance change. What isn't as good of a change is limping. Monsters will limp for a little bit now, and then they will kind of just forget that they're weak and start sprinting to the next area. That just feels really weird. I don't really know why they decided to make that a thing. Another thing that is actually really good though is dunks. Dunks are really, really nice. They're the same as World, I suppose, but they're comparatively different because I mentioned it earlier. But if you dunk a monster, they're on the ground for a lot longer than just a normal trip, which is nice. You can also get dunks from part breaks now. Like in World, you used to have to get a flinch on the head for monsters to dunk, or to cut the tail on things or something. But if you broke the wings, they wouldn't go down onto the ground. In this game, they do that. I think that's good. I think that's probably it for general monster changes. Azeroth's got a really good 5th gen upgrade. It's basically the 4th gen fight, but just much less stiff. Visually looks really nice. He looks really fluffy, actually. He looks cute. I like him. He has a couple of new moves. The Azeroth space program is really funny. I don't know why it sends you that high. It's so funny. It can always kind of be used to an advantage because you can wire fall out of it, and then if you've got another wire bug, you can move your way back in and go in for a counter attack, which is nice. I think it's cool. He also has a rock throwing move now to stop you from like camping him out with bowgun. Again, nice change. Very good addition to the moveset. Doesn't really use it too often, but it's something that's there. He's probably the one that makes guard mix-ups the biggest problem. I mentioned earlier that the Lord of the Dance attack is kind of maybe the biggest defender. Yeah, like the claw swipes will hit behind your guard a lot. And his sweeping, like, hug tends to hit behind guard, and his pin attack tends to hit behind guard. Not great. But hopefully that, again, is something that's going to be fixed before launch. Great Azuchi is a really good starting, like, Raptor, Dog Wyvern. Didn't have any shitboxes from what I could tell as well. I was expecting him to have, like, Macau horrible nastiness again, but he doesn't. That's awesome. I'm really glad that's the case. He has really nice tells on his attacks, which is nice for starter players. Good hit zones as well. He's probably like the best starting Raptor weapon I think the series has had, in my opinion. He's so much better than Macau. Macau's awful. That's probably going to be the one I'm hung up on the most, is that monster sucked. Ugh. What else is there to talk about? The little Azuchi, like, he commands the little ones around him, and originally I thought, oh, okay, that's cool, but it's probably not going to be that impactful. They're a menace. They're actually kind of important in the fight if you're not perpetually, like, stunning him. If you've got a weapon like single guard, like the lance and gun lance, like Aesop binds are both single guard point attacks, you can guard like one of his heavy strikes and one of the little ones will come in and just knock you out of your punish, so you're actually incentivized to clear them. That's cool. I think that's nice. Ray Izuchi, pretty good. Very, very good impression. He's the only actual new monster in the demo, and if all of the new ones keep up with like the same kind of quality that he's displayed, then yeah, I'll be really happy. Raffian, basically just the world version. She tailspins a lot more, which is kind of weird. It does make her a lot easier to dunk. She's kind of a pushover, to be honest. I don't really have too much to say about her. Yeah, it's World Raffian. It's kind of an underwhelming fight. She does adapt to your verticality well. Like, if you spend loads of time in the air, like, if you're playing Insect Glaive or you're using Wirebug a lot, she'll chase you a ton. Which I think is nice. Also, her Wyvern Ride attacks are really rewarding. You can basically get a free poison on stuff, along with a load of damage. Yeah, it's nice. Guess the last thing I should probably talk about is Mizu. Mizu's good. Really good 5th gen upgrade. The fight flow is really weird. Now, I guess it's just because I've done a lot of the GU Mizu, but the fight flow is... it's good. I like it in Rise. A lot of the new patterns that were added are really funny. I think they're really good. The fact that it uses bubble foam and it's enraged to like slide around everywhere. The 720 beam and like the electric slide are just funny. They're really good. They got really tight hitboxes as well, so they're good moves. Also has like a couple of extra like little things it can do to throw off people with undeal ones a lot. Like it can do its little slides into like a bite and a tail flip now, which is it's nice. Double tail flip is gone though. Double tail flip doesn't exist anymore. And double bite still can't connect twice on a guard point, which sucks. So if you guard point the first one, the second one will always hit you, which not great. Kind of hoping that was fixed. Bubble Blight got changed. It's actually like a threat now. Yeah, I mean there's nothing more really to say about that, to be honest. It does take a lot of stuff from Soul Seer. It takes a lot more damage when it's enraged now, like parts of it soften when it's enraged. It uses bubbles a lot more actively now as well. It becomes more of a fight about environment awareness and positioning. I'd like it. The music change is okay. I like the GU theme better, but it's alright. It's competent. I mentioned it earlier. It has the biggest offensive hitboxes for anti-air nonsense, which is dumb. Again, if the game is punishing you this much for being in the air when it's incentivizing that you be in the air so much, that is objectively shit design. Body Slam also has some shit boxes as well. It hits behind all the time. Yeah, as much as I like the fight, that needs to be fixed. That's kind of a weird negative to end on, but that's probably all I've really got to say. Game is looking very positive. I've been really impressed with Rise. I was expecting it to be really good, and it was better. I just hope the full game can follow through with that. But yeah, that's really all I've got to say. This has been a weird video. Not scripting anything and just kind of saying my own thoughts. This hasn't been edited too much as well, I imagine. Not something I'm used to doing. I'll probably do it more often. This feels like I'm on stream more than recording. But hey, if you liked this, same thing as always, let me know. We have a Discord that you can join if you want to hang out. Obviously hitting ye old subscribe button always helps out a ton. Check out Twitch and all that nonsense. You know the whole deal. But yeah, I'll see you guys probably in February for an actual big video essay that's going to be edited and stuff, and I'm terrified of making it, but we'll get there. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you guys when I see you next. Take care. Is this gonna kill him? I'm pretty sure this is gonna kill him.